Why would I spend a week on something just to destroy it? Well, it's pretty simple. Because I want to. It's a fun way to let off some steam, and to be quite frank, I live in a really small apartment. Barely have room for the builds I've already made. Over the last year, I've made some awesome additions to my Desert Wasteland series. This is definitely one of them. And I won't lie, this build was pretty hard to part with, but all good things come to an end. I'm Imagine Create Destroy, and let's get started with this week's build, guys. Let's start this build the same way we start every other build, gluing XPS foam to different sizes of XPS foam, and cutting it out with a hobby knife.
Boring.
While I hack away at this thing, I'll get into the inspiration for the build. It all started when I was playing Fallout 4, fighting a pack of rad scorpions, when I remembered I had bought a D&D scorpion recently. That would be perfect as a rad scorpion. So let's bring my favorite video game to life. I also so happen to have the perfect cowboy and dog mini that I think would fit the vibe of this video perfectly. Now that we got that out of the way, we can get into the backstory that brings our lone wanderer to this well-guarded cave. This adventure all started with a rumor a weapon vendor had told the wanderer when he was trading scavenged weapons and ammo from local raiders he had defeated. The rumor was an Old Town hero had gone to the cave to kill the rad scorpion and bring it home as a trophy of his greatness. But he unfortunately met his fate that day. While the local hero had passed, his .44 Magnum that was capable of shooting explosive bullets was left behind. And that brings us to this scene here, where our friend here thought this gun would be the perfect fit for his cowboy vibe. He wasn't sure if he could take on a full-grown rad scorpion, but time will tell. And if he doesn't make it, he did just quick save, so you can always try again. Alright, after I finished carving away the rocks and the cave, I blasted it with the torch to soften up the sharp edges. Then I got out my modeling paste to fill the gap lines in between foam layers. I'll let that fully dry and then we'll move on to base coating the rocks. I based the rocks with a yellowy tan, then added some extra detail before I hit it with the washes. For a little extra depth, I'll use some rocks, then pour some sand over. This helps blend the rocks into the ground and gives a nice realistic touch. I got the idea from Boylite Hobby Time, who got the idea from Boulder Creek Railroad, who probably came up with it because they're a diorama genius. The washes for the rocks really brought this build together. I used a black, burnt umber, and raw sienna wash and randomly splotched them on, wet blending as I went to give a nice smooth transition between colors. I wanted to give the rad scorpion a nice radioactive look, so I'll dry brush on a dark green, then a bright green, and call this cute little guy good. Next, I'll paint my version of dog meat and some extra minis to add some life to the build. I started by painting the snakes with a tan and the dog and rabbit with a dark brown. Then I just dry brush them with lighter colors of the base colors. Once the minis are looking decent enough, I'll glue them all into place. While I was doing that, my wife gave me the brilliant idea to have one of the snakes chasing the rabbit on the ridge line. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now I want to fill some of the empty space. I'll do that with various grass tufts from Gamers Grass and Green Stuff World, my two favorite companies for grass tufts. When you do this, use as many colors and sizes as possible. It helps make it look more realistic, and also do bunches. We don't want too many sitting alone. One of my biggest pet peeves in my older builds is that I didn't cover the layer lines from the foam on the sides. So I'll lay the build on an old cereal box, trace out the build, then I'll cut it out with my hobby knife. This just helps add that extra little bit of detail to the build. Once that's glued on, I'll prime the sides with a cheap acrylic black paint. Then we'll paint the sides with the black 4.0, and that's another diorama down. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Now let's roll the beauties. Peace.
Okay.
Actually, I lied. I'm back. Almost forgot I was going to destroy this build. And no, I'm not going to use my big ol' head to bash it. I'm going to use this mallet. Now, unfortunately, I made a huge mistake, but you'll see that soon. Okay, enough waiting. Let's get it. No way, I just forgot to hit record. Now I'm actually mad.